Hello everyone, it's Lisa Turner here from Psycademy, and we are here to support spiritual evolution and evolution of the species and society. So we had a question in our Facebook group, which was twin flames. It was all about twin flames. Like, what are they, and can we evolve or awaken or ascend with them, without them? And what if your twin flame in life, in the 3D reality, is a bit of a asshole, narcissistic type person? So here's my take on twin flames, and hold on to your hats because it's pretty different to most other twin flames. So first of all, it's pretty different to most other people's the explanation that's given out there about twin flames. So first of all, I'm just going to frame this around the idea, some of the core beliefs or core ideas within our Psycademy model of spiritual evolution. So one of the core aspects to spiritual evolution, spiritual awakening, is the idea of it has to be empowering. Spiritual awakening should be empowering. Like, I don't have a lot of rules, but for me, and whenever I speak to anyone and talk to them about spiritual awakening, whenever they share anything with me, that tells me that they've been told something by someone outside of themselves and it seems to disempower them, I think that doesn't seem that spiritual. So if you think about it, now, why does it need to be empowering? So if we have this idea that you are source, you are an aspect of source, living, residing, and expressing itself through your physical being, through your personality in this physical form. So you are divine in the physical form. Now, by definition, source is infinite. Okay, so I'm just doing this as a logical progression, right? By definition, source is infinite. It's everywhere, it's everything, and it's perfect in and of itself. It chooses to express itself through us in the physical reality, and as part of that, but it's still whole. I think the idea of twin flames, the way it's taught and the way it's talked about and spoken about, it often goes something like this. So you're born, and I mean, the idea of twin flames. So we have this idea that you're born as an infinite soul, and somehow that infinite soul gets split into two, which, like, mathematically, by the way, infinity divided by 2, infinity divided by anything is still infinity. You split infinity in half, it's still infinity, right? Because it's infinity. So I don't know who's just joined. Oh, just went away. So you can't. So if you have this idea that that your soul at birth or at the point of incarnation, somehow it gets split into 2, and then you've lost half of yourself. And the idea that's often taught about twin flames is that you're supposed to spend your life looking for the one single person that you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with. And if you don't find that person, you are really buggered. You're not going to ascend. You're not going to awaken. You're going to be miserable. Or if you do find them, well, what if they're a real horrible person and you find you're arguing all the time? Oh, well, you're buggered because you just got to stay with them because it's your twin flame and that's the law. Right? Some spiritual BS law. I get grumpy about this, right? I get grumpy about anything that disempowers people, right? So I do not think that idea of twin flames is empowering for people. I think that codependency can be created through, rather than us thinking that person is our twin flame, but actually thinking I'm not whole and I need to be made whole by trying to find someone else to complete the bits of me that I don't feel complete with. I would prefer it if we started to think about all relationships from the perspective of, I am a whole person, I am complete, and other people just make it more fun to be around, to have certain experiences. And it doesn't mean that you can't have certain experiences or you can't evolve or awaken on your own. There are lots of very enlightened people who have chosen to awaken and enlighten on their own, the Buddha being perhaps one of them. Jesus, bit of a, I was going to say Jesus, and then I thought, hang on, there's a lot of people think that he was married and have that belief, and it's like, yeah, but it didn't kind of feature, like Jesus was like, oh my God, I've got to find my other half before I can experience myself as a child of God. No, Jesus just went about saying, well, I'm a child of God. You're a child of God. We're all children of source. So if we're all source, we're all infinite, how could you be anything less than whole? How could you have a need for anyone else to achieve or experience anything? And that would fundamentally be disempowering. And remember, that has to be the bedrock of spiritual awakening. If any aspect of spiritual awakening is disempowering, it's probably not spiritual awakening. It's probably dogma. So just question it. And the question to ask is, does this empower me? If you experience your partner as not empowering you, as not assisting you to be greater, to be more, to expand, to evolve, and that might mean, so if you're not experiencing them as that, then just choose not to be with them. Now, that can actually look like they may be so protective and caring and nurturing that they actually try and squash you down. And I've seen that in relationships where one partner will be so they'll be so determined, or they'll so want to nurture the other person. The other person ends up becoming dependent on them. I actually saw that with a husband whose wife was nervous of driving. So he started to drive her everywhere. So she stopped even being able to, like, the distance she could drive got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until she actually couldn't really drive at all. And then he wanted to leave her because he found her very needy. But he felt he couldn't because, well, she can't even drive. So he went through a process of kind of unraveling and sort of extracting himself so that she became more empowered. She felt great, and in the end she left him. They were both happy. Yes, that's how it should work, right? So anything that disempowers you is probably not spiritual. So the idea that you've got this twin flame, and I don't know, like, so the question originally posted was, that was about, let me see if I can find it. It was around having a twin flame who was, how did they describe it? As a narcissistic ass hat. I like that. Love bubble, then bursted the bubble. And that's how they experienced them in 3D. In 5D, I feel like I feel him. However, then I feel crazy. Why do I think it's his voice in my head? Well, there's probably a reason for that. There's some disempowerment going on, and there's probably a little bit of I could use a really rude word, mind messery going on there. And that can start, and I know this is a bit controversial, so it can start from the mistaken belief that you're not whole. So if you have this, any time you think you're not whole and complete and you need someone else to complete you or to assist you to awaken, other people can then hook into that consciously or unconsciously, or you can hook into them to try and feel whole. And then you end up thinking you have to be with someone that you don't really like, who isn't really very nice to you. So what if we just got rid of the idea that there was twin flames? What if we just let that go? What if we just said, you know what, there are people who I really love being around, and there are people who support me, there are people who so inspire me, and there are people who challenge me. My husband and I, we've been together 18 years now. We're married 18 years, and I think we've certainly been together about 3 or 4 years beyond that. I can't remember. I don't do the sums. It's not interesting. But here's the really interesting thing. We both know that we're always at choice. There's no sense of we have to stay together for any reason. We stay together always because we choose to, and because we deeply love each other in a way that's very empowering for the other. And that's one of the things we're always looking and seeking to create in our relationship. So some people say, oh, wow, it's great you found your twin flame. And it's like, if I thought he was my twin flame, I might be tempted to think I have to stay with him. And then I would be trapped. Anytime you have to stay somewhere or be somewhere, whether you want to or not, it's a trap. Whereas we always stay because we know we're always at choice, and we still choose it. And you know what? One day we may choose not to be, and we both have to be okay with that. At the moment, we are so connected and so supportive of each other. And sometimes, and relationships, sometimes we challenge each other. It's like, so one of the ideas of, this comes from Carl Jung. What is the purpose of a relationship? So Carl Jung's theory is perception is projection. So anything you perceive in someone else is within you. And the more unconscious it is, the more likely you are, the more you will project it onto someone else, so that you can bring it into conscious awareness, so that you can choose to embrace it or change it or whatever. Now, one of the things about our most intimate relationships is we will project onto them what is most unconscious. So the thing to do, always become more self-aware and more conscious, more what we call at cause. The more at cause you are, the more you're able to experience yourself as the creator of your experience, the chooser of your experience, whether that's the creator of your circumstances or how you choose to respond to the circumstances that are created. Whatever that is, the more at cause you are, the more you're able to grow, the more you're able to expand. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it interesting. I hope it kind of had you go, ooh, and question some of your thoughts and beliefs around relationships. I know lots of people who are, I think there's a whole blossoming movement of new kinds of relationships where people like monogamy may not be the thing. It's been the thing for a while, and maybe we're evolving as a species, as a society beyond that. I know, whoa, that's controversial. So, Kez, you've shared this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love you, Kez. If you have any questions or any thoughts, pop them in the comments box. Even if you're listening on the replay, I will be happy to answer them with my typing fingers later on. Or they might even inspire me to do another Facebook Live. So till next time, my darlings, lots and lots of love to you. Bye for now. Bye.